Grow me, please. What does that mean? Okay. We're about to get started in like a minute. I just have to, I'm trying to set up a stream on Instagram as well. We use a different platform for Instagram, so I'm just trying to set it up there. Oh, Instagram and what is it? And YouTube. Hi, Dr. AJ. Thank you for coming back. Okay. Let me close my All right, so we're about to get started really, really soon. Just waiting for a couple of people to show up. I see some regulars on TikTok. I appreciate you guys for coming back. I really do. Sharita, thank you so much for that link. That's actually the application that we're going to be going through today. So, perfection. All right. What was I gonna do? There's one thing I wanted to do before I finish this. That's what I was gonna do. She said, hey, working on my Amazon grant. Good, perfect. All right. There's actually another Amazon application. They're, I don't know, this is actually good for anybody who has like a physical product. I'm actually trying to see what I can conjure up myself because they are actually working on certifying people plus helping you get your Amazon product launched as well. So like helping you set up, get a storefront, like do all that stuff. Plus they also have like a funding portion to it and they're helping Black owned businesses get certified. So, I mean, win all around. And they're very responsive. So I think there's no like real application with that one. It's like working with somebody one-on-one. So let me make a note to send you guys that. So you know, especially if you have a product. Okay. Amazon. I think it's an accelerator, if I remember it correctly, actually. Product accelerator. All right. All right, I just want to see, definitely need funding for both. Okay, so I have a hair extension store and I have an ice cream shop. Okay, so what are you needing for those? I know you said you need funding, but what else? I'm still not receiving your emails. That is odd. Are you checking your spam, Sharita? Is anybody else not getting the emails? I'm not blaming you. Like, if you're not getting them, you're not getting them. But also, I want to make sure everybody else is getting them as well. Me either. Interessante. All right, let me do one thing real quick and then I'll double check to make sure I have the emails. Yes, I can't sign up again because I can't resume my phone number. No, that's right. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, so let me see this real quick. That's not right. That's not supposed to be offline. That's supposed to be online. Interesting. Okay. I'm glad I looked at that because that's not right. Okay. All right. So let me look at the back end real quick and just double check what's going on here. All right. So that would be, I have your email, Sharita. So 1 second, Jolena. Hi. But 1 second. I'm trying to troubleshoot something real quick. All right. I have your email, Jolena. Not Jolena, sorry, Sharita. So I could see if your email address is here. And it's the same email address that you've emailed me on, right? So I just want to make sure I have it. And then Dr. AJ, I don't have your email. So if you want to DM me that email address, I can look on the CRM to make sure that is here too. Okay. All right. So let me look real quick to make sure it's there. Sharita. Info at. Okay. So I have that. Let me just look. All contacts. That's so weird. It's not even here. Okay, let me load a list. Let me see if it's on a specific list. Yeah, because that's not good that you guys are not getting the emails. Because that's the easiest way to communicate with everybody. All right, let me see something. I sent this one out on Monday. Let me see. Let me check the report. Opens and clicks. Okay. Okay, I might have to do this later just because this is taking a lot more time than I thought it would. But let me make a note because no bueno. So I sent out an email. This went out Monday that just passed, and it should have been delivered at 6 a.m. No one got this email. It would have been the email that had the pricing, not the pricing strategy. It would have been the email that had, it would have been updated. Damn. Okay, so, so Jolena got it, and Sharita did not. What's going on? Okay, it would have been an email that had, it would have had an updated grant list in there. It also would have had the 5 podcast episodes that I promised you guys for the employment stuff, like all of the employment, onboarding, retention, all that stuff. And then it would have had, I'm gonna tell you right now, It would have also had the application that we would have been doing Tuesday. And then Dr. AJ said, I just sent it to you. Okay. All right. All right. So here's what I'll do. Let me just go ahead and add you again, Sharita. I'm just going to do that. I can do quickly. Create a new contact. All right. And then Dr. AJ, I'll add you before we leave, okay? I mean, after we get off, so that I can make sure that you're getting those emails. All right. Okay, so I just added you again, Sharita. So I'm going to send out an email, and then I'll just double check with you that you got it so that I know you're receiving them, because that's really weird. But I'm sorry about that. Okay, so sorry that we took up some time with that. Not sorry that I helped you with it. We're sorry that it took up time for anybody who's waiting for us. So today we're going to be working on the Cartier. That's now I need to pull up the application again. Okay, the Cartier. Let me see. Sharita's email is where? All right, so it's the Cartier Women's Initiative. All right. So Sharita, thank you again for that email and putting that into our awareness, this opportunity. All right, so okay, so here we go. So if you go to CartierWomen'sInitiative.com/awards, that's where we're going to find it. And then there's a couple of different awards on there. We're probably not going to be able to go through all three of them, but there's one for, let me actually share my screen with the other participants so they can see what's going on. All right. No, not doing that. Okay. All right. So if you're on the website, there's going to be three. If you click on like the apply now at the top right part of the screen, you're going to see somewhere that says apply now. And there's like regional awards, science and technology, pioneer awards. And then there's one for diversity, equity, and inclusion awards. Today, let's do the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. Let me also close this so it's not blinging the whole time. And put myself on do not disturb. All right. So let me know when you've gotten there so we can start reading the applications, of course. Yeah. And just you should have gotten an email that said like you've been added to a list or like added to an email or something. Okay, this application closes on June 30th. So there's quite a bit of time to do this application. And then it closes at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. And then this one, it says, we've created a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award to encourage entrepreneurial solutions designed to close gaps of access, outcome, or opportunity for communities that have been underrepresented or underserved. While the other regional and thematic awards of the Cartier Women Initiative focus on supporting women, this pilot award is open to all genders. Okay, so the competition might be a little bit more steep than the ones that we typically go through, because these are not just specific to women, right? But then again, from what we know, men apply to these things anyway. So the competition was going to be steep regardless. All right. So we're going to start with the DEI one. And then if you just kind of toggle down a little bit, the click here to apply is not too far off under the image. So let's start with reading the requirements. While I'm reading those off, go ahead and start a Word doc. So the audacity of Chad and go for it. Yeah, no, for real. For real. Let's have the audacity of all of them. All right. So while I'm reading off these qualifications, let's go, and not qualifiers like that will qualify us, just what they're looking for so we know what to focus on. But while I'm reading this off, go ahead and open a Word document per usual so that we can save our answers, all right? Because that's going to be important, especially once we open this training. You'll see, because we'll have a question bank, all right? And you can actually fill in the question banks for applications that you do that we don't have listed, all right? So there'll be an area where you can add your questions and then add the answers that you've put so that your VA can source those answers when they're applying for you. And then they might have to tweak answers, of course, depending on the application, but you'll qualify those answers, all right? Could you give me the link for DEI? Yes, of course. So if you go to Cartier Women's Initiative, like Cartier, like the watch jeweler brand, Women's Initiative, like it's the multiple women, so women'sinitiative.com, and you /awards. If you go to the top right, there's a button that says, or there's a part on the nav bar that says apply now, and that is where you're going to grab that application. There's a DEI application, there's a science and tech application, and then there's one that says regional awards. We could probably poke around at the regional awards too, see what's going on over there. All right. And I'm going to figure out a better system for this. I thought the emails were going to be sufficient, but y'all not even getting them. So I wanted to try to get the email out so that you guys would have the application ahead of time and that we wouldn't have to like try to read it off, but we got to figure that out. So sorry about that. All right. The 3 fellows from this category will receive, I don't like that they use fellows, but whatever, financial capital support. The first grant applicant or awardee will receive $100,000, all right? The second one will be $60,000, and the third one would be $30,000, all right? Have you thought about a community like Slack or a Facebook group? Yes, I have thought about that. You are absolutely correct. I actually have. So I was thinking about maybe opening a free tier on Patreon and putting like that YouTube video that we did the other day in there. And then when we do updates and stuff, we could do that as well. What are your thoughts on that? Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on that. Because I really am not someone that just imposes things on people. Like I don't impose my ideas on what I think would work. So if you let me know what you want and it's feasible, it will be done. All right. That's how I operate. So you guys have to speak up. It's hard for us to do that sometimes, but it's how I operate. If you speak up and let me know what you want, if I can do it, I will. But if I can't, I'm going to tell you, I don't know, that might be a little expensive or it might have to cost this much to make it work or whatever. But yeah, tell me, I'll do it. All right. So we'll do, I hear 2 sounds good. 1 sound good, 1 that would work. So we'll do that on Patreon. All right. All righty. And I will announce it when it's done. All right. Think about that for a minute. I would love to network and connect with these ladies. So that's going to actually be one of the features of the training that we're going to be launching. So it's going to come with a directory, and the directory, you'll create a profile where your business will be there. And we as the moderators would be intentional about you guys connecting you guys with businesses that we think you can form strategic alliances with and even outline a plan for you to do that. Right. So definitely something that we're working on. I feel like this will be done before the middle of June. There's a lot of moving parts and we're trying to get everything done, but as you can imagine, I don't want to move my team away from too many of our own initiatives. So we're just trying to plug in the pieces as we can go. But that is definitely going to be a feature because I love the fact that and you actually inspired that, Jolena, because I love the fact that you tried to connect with The other young lady that was in the live the other day, that was kind of like triggered that idea. All right. And we have the capacity for the dashboard. So, I mean, the directory. So that would work very well. Okay. All right. So human capital support. Our fellowship program focuses on several key areas of human capital support for women impact entrepreneurs and offers a combination of one-on-one training, collective workshops. Okay. So in addition to the money, they want to give you one-on-one training. All right. In specific business areas. So come prepared to talk about what business areas you need outlined. All right. Advice sessions with subject matter experts in the CWI community. That's going to be important as well. Community peer learning and networking sessions, of course, right? Because winners, you want to network with other winners. Online and in-person leadership communications and media training workshops. That's valuable, right? In-person social entrepreneurship program. All right. Seed. I'm not sure what that is. That must be like an internal thing. All right. One-on-one leadership capacity executive coaching by the Women's Impact Alliance, formerly the Coaching Fellowship. Okay, so it seems like they have human capital support, social capital support through this fellowship program that they have as well. Who should apply? All right, this award is looking for business offering product or services designed to close gaps of access, outcome, or opportunity for communities that have been underrepresented or underserved. Entrepreneurs across all sectors and geographies are encouraged to apply. All right, so I hope you guys heard that. They don't care what industry you're in. They want to know whether or not this DEI grant mainly focuses on the fact that you are serving a community that is labeled as underrepresented and underserved. So that would be women, veterans, some minority group, right? So, individuals that are part of the disabled community, some individuals that are part of like the mental health communities. This could be elderly individuals. These are all underrepresented and underserved, all right? I'm not saying that just the ones I listed off are that. Those would be, you look like Beyonce. I do not, but thank you for the compliment. Okay. So underserved and underrepresented. So it's a group of people. So just think about a group of people that do not experience a widespread representation. And I'm not saying that to be redundant, right? So like, for example, let's say you owned a telecommunications company and you are serving people that live in, an internet company or Wi-Fi company, and you're specifically serving, or you have an initiative, because it doesn't have to be your whole company. This could just be an initiative that you're launching to broaden your reach into like internet deserts. This could be a part of some group that's underrepresented. There are people who do not still have access to Wi-Fi. That's a thing. So that could be an underrepresented group or underserved group, okay? So it might not just be limited to minorities or the people that I just listed, but those are usually the ones that are common that we talk about whenever we talk about underrepresented or underserved. Sorry. All right. Okay. All right. So it says the business should demonstrate that its main purpose is to work towards closing gaps of access. So your whatever initiative that it is that you're launching, that's what they want you to focus on. All right. They're telling you straight up the outcome and the opportunity to represent this group is what they want to see. All right. These communities suffer from discrimination based on different dimensions of diversity, such as age, gender, sexual orientation, abilities, mental or physical. So we talked about mental health. We talked about disability, right? We talked about ethnicity, geographic location. We just kind of mentioned that with the deserts, and or religion. All right. So maybe a cult or some kind of like maybe the Amish, right? Maybe the Amish could be considered underrepresented. This list is not exhaustive. Again, I agree. There's people I didn't account for, right? Gaps of access, outcome, or opportunity as it relates to level of income, income inequality, or are also eligible, but the applicant should seek to address that they are related to existing discrimination based on internal dimensions of diversity. Otherwise, the business would be a better fit for the regional award. Okay. So if you find that you're reading this or I'm reading this and you don't see how that fits, let's poke around at the regional award a little bit later and then see if that's more appropriate. Okay. Early stage business, for profit. They define early stage as you having been incorporated between 2017 and 2022. All right. So you have to at least be 1 to 6 years old. All right. Revenue generation should be generating revenue from the sales of its product or services for at least 1 year as of the date of the application. All right. It doesn't say how much in sales. It just says generating sales. All right. So maybe people who are pre-revenue, I'm not saying not to apply, right? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you that if you're going to think about applying to this one, the conversations might be, hey, we're pre-revenue. However, this is what we're projected to do, or this is what we think we're going to do, and still shoot your shot. Because again, we don't look at these to disqualify ourselves. We look at this to determine whether or not we should still apply and under what conditions we're going to be creating our narratives, right? Because we might still be the best option out of all the options that come across their timeline. So just putting that out there for people who are going to hear this and say, oh, I don't fall into this category. Okay, so fundraising. Business shouldn't have not raised more than $2 million in dilutive funding. Does not apply to us. And then leadership. The applicant must be filled by one of the main leadership positions, for example, C-level or general manager or managing director of the business, all right? Which kind of goes back to the original point that I made like a couple of lives back, which is why you want to call yourself a C-level executive and not just a founder, because of this reason right here, all right? The founder doesn't necessarily mean that they work in the business. That's that. Ownership. Business must be majority owned by its founders and team members at the time of the application, okay? Legal entry is 18, or you have to be 18 by the day the application is submitted. English proficiency, meaning that they're going to be looking for grammar and all that good stuff. Time commitment. Okay, so this is going to be a fellowship style thing, so a fellowship style program. So you do want to consider that you have to be available for 1 calendar year, 4 hours a week, virtually. All right. Let's see what else. Fellows will also be expected to attend 1 week of in-person training in May of 24. Beyond the fellowship, there are also 2 days of on-site filming of the fellow and their business in the first quarter of 24. Fellows will also be required to report their impact for 3 years following the completion of the fellowship. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Everybody good? Ready to start? Okay, it's asking us to create an account. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I don't know who this guy is. He's everywhere on their page. I don't know who this is. All right. It's asking you to verify your email. So after you create an account, go ahead and do that. Excuse me. Okay. Are we ready? This application is actually pretty long, short. I don't know what's going on here. All right, awesome. So preliminary questions, location operations. We are all in the great United States. Was your business incorporated between 2017 and 22? Yes. Is your business for profit? Yes. Please select the entity type which best reflects the current state of your business. Spin-off, subsidiary, franchise, independent business entity, other entity. So it gives a definition of what these things are. Pick the one that fits the best structure of your business. All right. Is your business a sole proprietorship? No, for me. Has your business been generating revenue since June 22? Yes. Has your business raised more than $2 million in dilutive funding? No. Is the main purpose of your business to work towards closing gaps of access? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Are you the applicant part of the business founding team? Yes. Do you fill one of the main leadership roles? Yes. Is the business majority owned by its founders and team members? Yes. Is your share of the business greater or equal to that of your co-founders? No. Greater, yes. Sorry, I read that wrong. Greater or equal, yes. Are you at least 18 years of age on the day of the application? Yes. Do you have good command of the English language? Yes. I will commit to the required time fellowship and subsequent reporting. Yes. All right. So that's that on that. Okay. Now it's going to ask you questions about yourself. So first name, if you have a middle name, if you don't, put N.A. I'm one of those people that my parents didn't respect, so I don't have one. If applicable, please list your first name in your local alphabet written system. Please list your first name. Okay. If applicable, it's not applicable to me. All right. Job title. This is the Cartier Women's Initiative. We're doing the diversity, equity, and inclusion application. If you read any of the requirements, as far as like the underserved, the DEI part, and you realize it doesn't fit you, they've instructed you to go to the regional awards one. All right. Honestly, I think we should do both for real. But all right, job title. Put your C-level title if you can. If you don't have one or you haven't attributed yourself one yet, just put founder for now, I guess, or manager of some sort, because that's what they want. All right. Date of birth. How are they not letting me pick the year? That's wild. All right. Let's see. Can I change it this way? Oh, okay. There we go. Because I'm like, this don't make no sense. All right. I got to go back to 89 using, oh no. Okay, no, I can type it in because there's no way. Like, there's no way they're making me go all the way back to 89 with a mouse click. All right, preferred pronouns. That's on you. Nationality. We are Americanos. Is that our nationality? Are we not American? Is that what's happening? Where is it? Oh, it's United States. Okay. I thought we were American. Guess not. All right. So residence location, United States. All right. City of residence. All right. Telephone number. If you can, put your business number. Email address, put your business email. So the handle is your business email address. All right. LinkedIn profile. Okay. You see how they only ask for your LinkedIn profile? Man. Okay. So, interesting. I'm just going to grab my LinkedIn profile real quick. Hello, Michelle. How are you? Okay. Please, Michelle, we're doing the Cartier Women's Initiative application. Okay. All right. So that's what we're working on today. So your English proficiency. All right. We're going to put proficient because I'm assuming we all speak English proficiently. If you don't, just put what's appropriate for you. I don't think this is more, I don't know if they're judging you based on your proficiency, but they did mention that they do want that, right? So just be honest about your proficiency. Where did you hear about the Cartier Initiative? We know the vibes, right? If it's other mental money podcasts. Well, actually, Sharita, you helped us with this one. I don't know if you want to take the credit for this one, Sharita. Let me know. Did you hear about the, okay. All right. All right. Please list the top 3 most relevant entrepreneurship networks, incubators, accelerators, fellowships, entrepreneurship program that you participated in and would recommend to others. Okay. Let's stop here for 2 seconds. I'm not going to preach. I'm just going to make a point. All right. Remember when we were talking to Jolena and I was telling her, well, no, she was telling us about how she had gotten into, I don't remember the name of the program because my memory is flawed, not because it wasn't important, but she was explaining a program that she had gotten into that she would have been able to leverage a title for. Here's why. Okay. They want to know, whenever they ask questions like this, I'm not speaking about Cartier in particular, but programs like this, they want to know that you're proactively seeking not just funding, but incubators, accelerators, fellowships, and other entrepreneurship support programs. So you're putting yourself in these areas and you are leveraging these experience, the knowledge, and things that you can build upon to build your business. Because when you are in these spaces, you are growing as an entrepreneur. You're not an island unto yourself. So when I tell you guys, don't just look for funding, look for accelerators, look for incubators, join fellowships, do other things. That list has them. Do them. Please apply for them as well. All right. This is why. Literally here's why. All right. All right. So let me find the name of this one. If you don't kill yourself about it. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker. Okay. But it's good to know. They really do want to know. All right. So just got my LLC. Congratulations, sis. I'm new at all this. Yeah, there's going to be a lot to learn, but what I realized was, honestly, I've had a lot of consultations for newer individuals over the last couple of days. And what I realized is that I'm failing you in some ways, that I really need to kind of help you guys fill in some information gaps about just structuring your business properly. So I will be going live a little bit more often just to kind of help fill in some of those gaps. So over the next week or so, just look out for some of that, okay? Because getting your LLC is one thing. Now you need to make sure that you have, first of all, is it a single member LLC or is it a multi-member LLC? That's first and foremost. If it's just you, and if it's just you or someone else, I'm getting some information while I'm doing this, by the way, so I'm not just talking to talk. If it's just you, you need to make sure that you start building your credit, your personal credit, if it's not up to par right now, okay? And your business credit, you need to start building that as well. And there's certain things they're going to want to know when you're building your business credit that will also fall in line with you structuring yourself properly. All right. The address, even down to the address that you use when you registered your LLC. We might have to change that. All right. Because it might not be the correct address. You don't want to use your home address. You could use a forwarding address or a mailing address or a registered agent or something like that, so that it's not tied to you and your home. Okay. Because in some states that's public information and you might not be able to make it private. Did you get a phone number? Right? It doesn't have to be expensive. There's numbers that you can get for $30 a month. All right. Do you have a website? They're going to want to see that. Did you purchase your domain name? All right. Do you have your EIN? You're going to want some of these things in place to just be structured properly. Now, you also need to get, if you have this with somebody else, if you did if you did incorporate this with another person, you need to go ahead and formalize your operating agreement immediately. What happens in the instance that one of you pass? Who's the majority stakeholder? That should have been documented on the LLC documents anyway, or outlined during that time. But also that should be an operating agreement. You need a bank account immediately, right now. Okay. Matter of fact, get off the live and go open a bank account. Go on Bluevine or bluevine.com and open a business account, okay? And do not put personal funds in your business bank account. Do not use your business bank account for personal funds. Do not use your business bank account for personal funds. If you need to use your business account, transfer money out. And then that is an owner's contribution. You deal with that on the back end of the taxes, okay? Do not use it, because that will hurt you for 3 months before they'll make a lending decision for you, okay? And then it removes some of the liability, like certain things like that. I got you. We're gonna talk about it. We got a lot to talk about, all right? So now that I was trying to find the website, sorry, for this this incubator thing, this accelerator thing. That's what was taking so long. All right, business products. All right, company name. Please describe your company in one sentence, all right? So that's going to be that one sentence pitch that we always talk about. Company name, it has a 150 character limit. Company name, and that's going to be the problem that you solve and for who, right? The problem is your product, like this is what we're doing, and then the solution is who you're solving it for. And then like kind of talking about a little bit about that. All right. The 150 characters is decent. So we can go ahead and do that. If anybody needs help with that, let me know. Because I'm kind of low-key assuming a lot of people have already been here. But if you haven't, then speak up and let me know, and we can talk about how to structure that a little bit better. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the comments. My bad, y'all. Okay. Those certifications are important depending on your growth plans. Yes, they are. Good point. Especially when we talk about contracting, like government contracting. I actually interviewed a guy last night that's going to launch on June 4th. He talked about like how if you are on the if you're a minority person and you're not government contracting, like what are you doing with your life? Yeah, pretty much. And those certifications definitely help you. You don't even have to bid. Like the company that I owned with my sister, for a couple of years, and that's where the majority of that funding that I was talking about came from. We contracted with the Veterans Association, Workers' Comp, who else? It was Workers' Comp, Veterans Association, and somebody else. I don't remember. And we never had to bid. No bids, nothing. Okay, that is something that I'm going to have. Okay, that is something that is going good. My personal credit. Okay, good. My grandfather's office. Okay, we would need to talk more in detail about that. I don't want to take too much away from this, but hopefully he has like a suite or something that he gave you. Yes, it's just me, sole proprietor. So you have a single member LLC. That's going to be a little bit different than a multi-member LLC because technically you're a sole proprietor. And that's, you would need to, I would say, do a little bit more research on the pros and cons of having that structure. Okay. I'll be ready. Sorry, no problem. How do we prioritize the programs we list? I don't think you need to prioritize them. So when I went to the application, I don't qualify because I haven't for year one yet. Interesting. So what do we do? Hold on. Let me see if there's somewhere on the website we can email them. No bueno. Let's look on their Facebook page. Hold on. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or what, but my computer has been so slow lately. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to open up the Cartier Cartier Facebook page to see if there's like some kind of way to contact them for Sharita's sake, so we could try to. What is that? Okay, no. All right, so let's look at their LinkedIn page. Maybe it'll give us some information. So for Sharita's sake, so we could see if maybe there's a way that we could contact them and see if they'd make an exception, because honestly, it doesn't make any sense for you not to apply to this thing. You fit directly into who they should be funding. Like there's really no one else fits more perfect into this than you do. So I don't think that makes any sense for you not to apply. Excuse me. Let me see on their LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn. Okay. All right, cool. So LinkedIn looks like there's more information. And I would say, let me go ahead and hold on. Okay, let me look up these employees real quick. Yeah, no, I don't want you to do that. That's what I don't want you to do, right? So, all right. So I see she's in Montreal. Okay. Hold on. Jody Pedersen is Cartier Women Initiative Global Program. She's over them. I think I actually follow her. Do I follow her? Are we connected? We're connected on LinkedIn. Okay. Don't know why. Cool. So I will send you her name and you can send her this information. Let her know your situation. Talk to her about your company and why you really want to apply to this and see if they'll make an exception for you. And then if not her, I would say I'm also going to send you the link for the search for the rest of the people within this Cartier Women Initiatives network and just go down the line, girl. That's how I would approach that. I'm not going to hold you. And there's like 6 pages of information. Can you send it via LinkedIn? Can you? Oh, yeah, good. Sure. I don't think we're connected, but let me go ahead and add you now. Let me look up your name. Hold on. Okay, I found you. Here we go. And I'm glad that you have DEI consultant in your name because, like, girl, let me get this application though. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all need me up in here. That's really how you and Sharita, I need you to be assertive. Like, it really I need that email to be written or that message to be written as if it like makes no sense for them not to let you apply. Okay, they'd be stupid to do it. You feel what I'm saying? I'm adding you now. If my computer would not stop acting slow. Okay. I'm sorry guys, 1 second. But still just still hang around anyway so that if the application does open for you, then you have access to it. But still check out the other one too, though. I would say still check out the regional awards then too. All right. Oh. All right. Sent. Let me close some of these tabs. Maybe that's why it's acting up. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. My computer is just like doing its own thing. Just taking its sweet old time. You know, just I don't know what's going on, but so sorry. Like Mercury's not even retrograding anymore. What's going on? Come on, man. Okay, finally. Okay, so describe your business in one sentence. Sector. What sector are you in? All right. Also another cute way of saying the industry. What industry do you serve? Or well, these are kind of like niche down a little bit. So more so the segment within your industry, but let's see. So again, there could be multiple industries or sectors that you serve. Pick the one that has the highest market, you can get the highest market share from, or the one that has the largest growth potential. All right. And for me, that is technology. So I'm just scrolling down. And is it here? It is not. Interessante. All right. So now we'll go to the second one, which would be financial services. Where are you? Okay, there we go. All right, great. Date of creation. So the company should have a proven business model and be in the initial phase of its development and growth phase between year 1 and 6 of license registration operation. For the 2024 edition, we're looking for companies that have been incorporated between 2017 and 2022. So incorporation date is the date that you registered your company with the state that you're in, okay? So this will be all right. All right, awesome. Now they're asking you to upload your registration documents. All right. So this will be in different states. It's going to be probably called different things, but for the most part, it should say articles of incorporation. It should say, what do they call it in Massachusetts? In Massachusetts, it should be. Well, let me look. There's another one. Oh, cool. That works. Yeah. So it's articles also. Okay. Yeah. So usually articles of incorporation or articles of operation. That's the other one that it should be called, right? So it might be called something different, but whatever the state gave you as far as paperwork is concerned for saying that here you are a legitimate business operating in the state and we acknowledge you as that is what you want to submit. All right. Give me 1 second. Just looking for mine. I don't see where she put it. Okay, that's fine. I can add it later. All right. Please describe your company's current ownership structure. So equity owned by founders, right? So for example, if you have 2 members that are part of an LLC, then you would talk about how the company is split. So for example, if it was a man and a woman and they were only just looking for women founders, you'd have to at least have, unless it's specified 50-50, you'd have to at least have 51% ownership to have majority ownership. So if you're splitting it with someone else and you have 30%, that might just be a little bit more than they need for you to be filling this out, but you're not the majority owner, so they probably would want to hear from them. But talk about what your split is, okay? 30-40, 60-80, 20-80, whatever, right? 60-40, whatever. And if any of the employees own equity, then you want to talk about that too, okay? Company website. All right. Company social media pages. Y'all know how I feel about this. Please describe your product or your service. All right, you have 1,000 characters. That's more than enough to talk about what your product is. And when we're talking about what our product, oh, sorry, one second. Sharita, let me get this to you. Just the article should be fine because just is what they're asking for. So if you mean by certificates, you mean like the business license that you got from the municipality? Or like whatever city you're in? No, I would just put the articles because that's all they ask for. Just put that. If they ask for like a certificate of good standing or something, like they might ask for that stuff. If you're selected, just to make sure that you are, just put what they ask for now. All right. One second. Let me just get Sharita squared away real quick. And then I will come back to the application. I'm just going to send you the lady's name that I found. Jody. We could start with her, and then I would probably just go down the line because there's like 51 employees. So whoever just seems to be the most appropriate for this, Sharita. All right. All right. So, your product, right? When you're talking about your product, you want to talk about the problem that you're solving. That's going to be the really big piece, or your service. That's going to be the really big piece that you're going to make sure that you're highlighting in this narrative. Okay. And for this sake, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about how your product benefits the consumer. Okay. So you can talk about the features, you can talk about the benefit, you can talk about the problem that it's solving. But when we're talking about the problem, we're not talking about it from the sense that, like, and I always use soap as an example. I don't know why. I'll think of a better example one day. But if you're using a bar of soap, we're not going to be explaining it as if like, oh, our soap just helps to eliminate hyperpigmentation. You want to talk about it from the sense of what benefits the consumer receives from not experiencing hyperpigmentation, all right? Because that's really what the problem that you're solving, right? So like, for example, if you were to fix someone's credit, you're not necessarily just fixing their credit. There's a net impact to having improved credit. You're able to qualify for things. You get better terms. You are able to, you're able to leverage your debt. There's other impacts that having a service related to improving credit could have on the consumer. Does that make sense? All right. So please describe the problem that you're solving for underserved or underrepresented communities. To what extent is this issue specific to your country, region of operation? All right. So this is a quantification question. All right. To what extent is asking you to measure, essentially, right? So I would, if I were in, well, not if I were, because I'm going to answer this question. When I answer this question, I'm going to be looking to quantify how many people are actually dealing with this problem. because that's how businesses make money. It can't be one or two people. It has to be one or two people across, maybe it could be one or two people, but it has to be one or two people across different demographics, right? So it could be one or two people across 1,000 demographics. So that creates the volume, or it could be 1,000 people within one demographic. So who's your target and how many people within that target audience actually deal with this issue? So if you don't know that information yet, then this was going to take some market research. All right. What you're going to be looking to answer, or what you're going to be looking to know is, based on your product or service, how big is this market? All right. How big of a problem are you serving, and how many people are you going to be serving? And how many people could you potentially be serving within that market, right? But again, they're niching it and focusing it down to underserved and underrepresented. So you'd have to go one more layer down to talk about, this is how big the market is. This is the, not even growth potential, just how big it is, just how big the problem is. This is what's going on in the financial services industry, okay? This is how big the problem is. This is the number of people that we could be potentially serving that have this issue. And then for the group of people that are underserved and represented within the community or region, country, or whatever that you're serving, how many people are affected and impacted by this? All right. Because they want to know how big your problem is and how many people can actually be served by it. All right. It says, describe which gaps in access, outcome, or opportunities you are addressing, and which historically marginalized communities you work with. All right. So just when you're bringing it down that one layer, talking about the underserved and underrepresented, just make sure to highlight which part of the community it is that you're going to be doing this for. Okay. And another point that they make is to comment on whether the solution you are offering can be replicated in other geographies. Okay. So for me, not very much, but for someone like, Sharita, even really, or Jolena, who I happen to know, and even Dr. AJ, definitely replicable. All right. There might be some, like, if it's a different country, it might be cross-cultural. If it's a different region, there might be a little bit of like legwork to do as far as who to communicate with, but, and what you need to learn, but it could be replicable for sure. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. How is your solution uniquely closing gaps of access, outcome, or opportunity for these communities? What is the big picture and vision? So if you've answered this a mission or vision statement from a previous application, you can pull from that answer too to answer what the big picture and vision is. But essentially, when you answer this question, think about the most ideal outcome, right? If everybody in your segment, if you were able to serve every single human being, what would be the ideal situation? What would it look like ideally? Right? Would everyone be free of hyperpigmentation and feel beautiful and empowered and not subscribe to societal beauty standards? Right? That would be the ideal. That's what the big picture is. Maybe changed beauty standards or new beauty standards around skin or whatever the case may be. And the vision could be maybe a little bit of how you plan on executing that. All right. Or how your consumer would feel. All right. So how your solution uniquely is a buzzword though, because what are you doing that's different that someone else is not doing? Or how do you plan on doing it differently? That's going to accomplish gaps of access, outcome, or opportunity for the people that you're serving. So gap of access would be maybe there's people, and I'm going to use Sharita as an example. Maybe there are people who do not feel safe in their workplace environment. And because they don't feel safe, one of the outcomes of the lack of safety is a high turnover within the workplace, right? So one of the outcomes of being able to have a program like Sharita's is that it benefits the employee because they have a safe out in place of employment, which is important for performance, is important for safety, mental health safety, for you not to feel stressed, all of these things, right? Excuse me. And then it also creates a great outcome for the company because you have employees that don't feel bad. You don't have high turnover rates. You have employees that are more galvanized to do their work, to be engaged, to produce for the company. So this is how you'd be able to create an outcome with your program, right? And it's an opportunity too. Opportunity benefits the company that's benefiting from your program, Sharita. Does it make sense if I say creating a streamlined process for survivors and retail consumers to connect and support in a meaningful way? That could be an outcome. Yeah. But what are they not able to access now? Like what does your product or service address as far as access is concerned? Oh shoot, did I close the application? Why did I do that? Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So remember that this is going to be a marginalized group, right? So I would say for you, you would really have to make sure that when you have 1,000 characters to do this, right? So when you are talking about your resources is not your solution, right? That's not what you're really providing. You have to think of it from the consumer's vantage point. What is the benefit to them? If they don't access these resources, what happens? So that's essentially what I'm asking you. What are they not accessing? Are they not accessing positive mental health, positive experiences? You're saying connection and support in a meaningful way, but you can't measure that, right? Like I can't measure feeling connected to you. I can't measure support I can't really measure support unless you're giving more specifics about what support is, and meaning that I would throw that word out completely, right? And I'm not saying that's not important. Don't get me wrong. And if you've been hanging around with me long enough, I'm never going to discount what you're doing as a business. This is how they look at it and judge your work. What can be measured? Okay? What you're saying is important. It's important for us to do all of these things, to connect, feel supported in a meaningful way, right? I'm a mother. Trust me, I would love to feel supported, connected in a meaningful way. And if you had a product or service or resources that could do that, I'd buy it. However, if you're trying to sell it to me and you want me to buy it as an investor or someone who's going to be invested in your business, then what I need to know is how are you measuring these things? Right? For the consumer, because the net impact has to be measurable. When they feel supported, right? Are they going out in the community now and are they doing XYZ? You see what I'm saying? Like are they purchasing more? What is a measurable way that you can define how it's going to help them? What are they not accessing that once they access, it will improve some outcome for them that you can measure? So lack of access to safe workplaces, the outcome of that is high turnover rate. You can measure those things with the example that I gave with Sharita. All right. That's measurable. When employees say that they feel unsafe and there are numerous reports to HR that are going unaddressed, you can see the consequence of that in a measurable way. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. And what you're saying is not wrong. I think, and I just want to be really clear on that. I'm never going to tell y'all what you're saying is wrong or, it's not important or I'm not trying to discount it or disvalue it or undervalue it. What I'm trying to tell you is to look at it from how it's going to be measured, right? We have to measure everything, because that's how, when you're looking at it from a profit perspective, how is meaning going to make money? How are we measuring meaning monetarily? Okay. That's how I want you guys to look at it. Okay. Nikki, I appreciate you, sis. All right. So let's see if we have any questions about this before we move on. Any other questions? But that's a good question though. I forgot your name that fast. S. Patton. So is there any questions about this question? Or, sorry, I walked away for a second. Which question are we on? We are on how is your solution uniquely closing gaps of access, outcome, or opportunity for these communities? What is the big picture and vision? That's the question we're on. They're not numbered, so what's the second question down under value, proposition, and DEI impact? Any questions about that before we move on? Okay, because, and here, so if mine is twofold, consumers gaining awareness through social consumerism, okay. I'm waiting to see if there was a second part to that. While at the same time, survivors benefiting from conscious consumerism. Okay, girl, we gotta talk, okay? Because there's a lot to unpack there. There is, and I see where you're going with that, but you're gonna have to find a way to measure the awareness piece. Okay, so I'm looking at the buzzwords that you sent me, right? Awareness, you're gonna have to measure that. Social consumerism, we can probably find a way to measure that. But benefit, you're gonna have to measure the benefit. And conscious consumerism is gonna be a little tricky, right? Because what are the outcomes of those things? You see what I'm saying? So I'm not telling you no. I'm just asking you. This grant alone, yeah, that's right, Dr. AJ. This grant alone meets your challenge goal of 6 figures. It does. Yeah. Okay. And you guys, I swear to you, if I can answer every answer, and I hope this is what I'm saying you feel. Whenever I can answer a question in a very succinct way and that gets your business question answered, I would love to do that, because that's what this time is for. But that question is very involved, because I'm really trying to understand how you're going to measure these things. And if we can get on a call, if I can't answer for you, you'll get your money back. Period. That's it. If I can't answer for you and we can come to a conclusion about what that measurement and how you actually are going to be talking about building out this framework for your business, then that's going to be the end goal of that call. Okay. Because at the very next question is asking you about your impact framework. So for you, you're going to have to literally put in, when this happens, that happens. When this happens, and tomorrow, you know what? This is what I'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll give examples of impact frameworks. Okay. That's what we'll do tomorrow. That's exactly what we'll do tomorrow. All right. So when this happens, when this input goes in, this is the output. When this input happens, that's the output. All right. And you have to do that every single time. When someone signs up and they purchase the product, this is what you can expect to happen. It might not happen 1-to-1, right? It might not be a 1-to-1 ratio for like, once someone signs up, they're immediately going to, you know, start receiving the benefits of it. But like once they sign up, then they are going to have, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. And then this is going to be the net impact of that, right? And then once that happens, this is going to be the outcome of it. Okay. Do you see, does that make sense? And again, I imposed impact frameworks, but is that something that you guys would be interested? We can give examples of impact frameworks tomorrow. We could do that on live tomorrow. Right. So Dr. Patton, or I'm sorry, I keep saying doctor. The real S. Patton says, right, so currently every time someone purchases from us, we create resource packages for safe homes. What I would need to know is, right, packages include what? And now we're looking at the impact framework, right? It would include what? And then what is unsafe, right? What is considered unsafe? Because if we're answering this previous question, what gap are you closing for this underserved community? What do they not have access to without your product or your service? What is how do we quantify unsafe? Okay. And when we're quantifying unsafe because they don't have this access to this thing, for example, I'm going to give you an example of unsafe, right? And I'm going to show you a quantifiable way to look at this. When I would go into a home with that home care agency, right? I'd go into a home, I'd do an assessment. I would look to see if the person that I was working with, if it was an elderly person, one of the things on the checklist, because we would have to go and do a home assessment. One of the things on the checklist to consider the home safe was rug, you know, the rug, like the rug grip thing, and we'd have to put it in. Okay. This was part of the cost that we assessed for the consumer. We'd have to go and put those things in. If they did not have those rug things in place where you tape it towards the end of the rug so that they wouldn't trip on the rug and fall, that would be unsafe. I can quantify why that's unsafe. There's falling, there's tripping, what happens when they fall, the amount of people that this occurs to every year, the impact that has on someone that's within her age range or his age range. You see what I'm saying? So I could quantify why this is a justifiable cost within my business. Because if this consumer doesn't have this, potentially, even if the possibility was 3%, right? I took that 3% chance for $12 tape and they end up in the hospital because I didn't do my due diligence. Who knows how long actually, I do know how long they might potentially end up in the hospital, because there's a range of time that they possibly end up in the hospital for an injury related to something like that, depending on how severe the injury is, okay? I would actually lose more money with them being away from home, where I provide a home service, than just buying the $12 tape. Does that make sense? But from a safety perspective, I think we could break down one grant application question per live and still talk. Dr. AJ, girl, I be trying. I do. I really do. I promise. Okay, good. All right. So to what extent does your business address the the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, right? Reduce inequalities. I don't know what the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are. So if you don't mind, I'm going to Google that real quick and then see how that aligns. But it says reduce inequalities. I'm going to see if there's maybe more information on that. I'm glad that that's an initiative, because honestly, I would put up a Google alert for something like that to see if any opportunities come up around that, and definitely make sure that I'm aligned. Okay. You did. You're right. There is a link. You're right. Let me go back. The sustainability goals are deep. Okay. Okay, well, you know what? Then I won't go through that now. We can go through it another time. Let me make a note. Because this one's not due for another month and a half or so, right? Month and 10 days or so. So we can go through this another live. Let me put UN sustainability. And the reason why I think we should go through it is because they are looking to, because they're addressing a couple of different areas like social, economic, political inclusion, right? So those areas could be I'm sure one of our businesses could fit in one of those areas, right? So let's look at that area so that we can answer this question in a more informed way, all right? Because I don't want to answer this question because I don't feel equipped to. So she said a whole other live. Yeah, that's a whole other live. So we can set up a whole another live for this one question, all right? So we can look at what they are looking for and then make sure that we're answering this question in that way. All right, so please list the top 3 metrics to use to measure impact of your company. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, right? So how are you measuring this? List top 3 metrics you use to measure metrics. So key, like data, metrics are data you use to measure the impact of your company, right? So let's talk about that more when we talk about impact frameworks, okay? So we're going to skip over these questions too, but we're going to include more than 3 because you should definitely have way more than 3 indicators for how to measure impact. There should be employment, there should be monetary, there should be employment, there should be revenue at the very least, right? The top 3, I'm going to tell you right now. Start thinking about this now. Employment. How do your employees or how are your employees going to impact your business? How's the revenue? Obviously, right? Revenue, definitely. And then the third one could be the actual product or service, right? So those are at the base minimum, the 3 metrics that we're going to be looking at. All right. And then we can examine a couple more. All right. Market and analysis. So what is your total addressable market in US dollars? Okay. So that's going to take a little bit of market research too, because that when I was talking earlier about like looking at what industry you're in and then what like the segments that you're serving or the sector that you're in, depending on which one. And the total addressable market is the one that you are going to be addressing specifically. All right. In US dollars, how much of that, what is the market value of that? What is it worth? Please make sure you describe it and include the formula you use to calculate it. Honestly, you might not even have to use a formula. Some websites already give it to you, but if they don't, they've actually given you a formula here and a list and a link with a video link and another link that's a tool for how you can calculate that. All right. Any questions? No. All right. So, for example, it says total number of customers in each market multiplied by the average annual revenue of a customer in that market. So that would be market research you'd have to do. But a lot of, like I told you, a lot of like market research sites give you that information. All right. So if you are going to answer this question and they already give you the information, just reverse engineer the answer so that you can describe it. All right. So you can describe the formula you use to calculate it. Just reverse engineer it. If they tell you that this many clients or this many, like this much money is worth this client, reverse engineer it. All right. If your annual contract value is $1,000 and you determine that there are 5,000 possible accounts, total number of companies with 100 to 500 employees, your total addressable market is 5 million. In addition to indicating your total addressable market, please also share the formula you use to calculate it. Okay. I know Dr. AJ is like reeling right now. I'm sorry. I didn't want to call you out, but I know, I think it was you the last time that was just like numbers. No, why numbers? No, was it you? No, someone else. But yeah, you can do this, or you can use the market research that's already on the site, okay? And then just plug in your own data for the ACV. Yes, no, maybe. It wasn't me, but you ever met a grant that you've ever walked away from? No. Okay, please list up to 3 competitors. Competitor name, website. And they're asking if you want to add another competitor. I would say add a minimum of 2. All right. Minimum of 2 would be a direct competitor and an indirect competitor. All right. What is your competitive advantage? We talk about what it is that you do differently than the other individuals that will set you apart. All right. They've qualified competitive advantage as something that's a factor that allows your company to produce goods or service better or cheaper than your competition. So there's that too. All right. I appreciate your tenacity. It's motivating me to keep going because I understand. I appreciate you. I understand, girl. All right, please upload your company's competitive landscape analysis if available. All right, definitely an exercise I think everyone should do. If you have a proposal already, go ahead and grab like the sections that are your competitive advantage, gain competitive advantage, competitive analysis, your market information as far as like your SWOT analysis, right? And then the observations and any assumptions about those things too. So yeah. I'm glad you're here, sis. Tia, we got a lot of people on here who you should definitely link up with. So go ahead and tap that number that's up there. Follow some people. There is a great group in here. It's a safe place. Ask your questions. Welcome. Okay. Okay, so competitive landscape. Just talk about your SWOT analysis, it mentions identify your direct competitor. So it's perfect. And it's saying to list their strengths and weaknesses relative to your business. So I would say go ahead and put your SWOT analysis in there too, right? So and include you in your SWOT analysis. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right. That's what SWOT stands for. So you can go ahead and do all 3 of those. And when you're, sorry, my phone just informed me that it is dying. 1 second. Yeah. All right. Malfunctions all around. All right. Sorry about that. So, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. SWOT analysis. Okay, yeah. Be sure to include yourself in the SWOT analysis. Okay? Yes. And then talk about your gain competitive advantage, because it is very difficult to move a consumer from something they know, like, and trust to something that's novel, right? So how are you going to gain your competitive advantage? That might be your pricing strategy. You could talk about that. We talked about pricing strategies now, right? So I can introduce that concept to you. Tia, if you're not familiar with pricing strategies, you can go to our YouTube, or later on today or maybe tomorrow. If you join us, then I will have a link available where you can catch that video, and then where we can all just kind of connect with each other, okay? It'll be available in the bio. So that's that. So we can talk about, no problem. So the SWOT analysis, you can talk about your gain competitive advantage, One of them could be your pricing strategy. Maybe that's how you get new customers in the door. You could talk about which revenue model it is that you plan on using. Maybe that's your gain competitive advantage. Maybe you found some way to do it cheaper, faster, better. There's different ways that you can kind of approach that. Okay. So what else? Top 3 customer segments. All right. Customer segmentation consists in dividing a broader. I love that they give you all this information though too, because a lot of applications have not given you this insight, right, about how they want you to actually break down this information. So it's good that they tell you this. So customer segmentation consists in dividing a broad consumer market into subgroups of consumer known as segments based on some type of shared characteristics. Okay, so so your consumer segment. So they give the example of companies that are 100 to 500 employees within different demographic areas, right? Or geographic areas, excuse me. So for example, customer segment number 1, it is really in depth, right? So customer segment number 1 could be one of the shared, let's just backtrack a little bit. It consists of a broad consumer market and subgroup consumers based on some type of shared characteristic. So the shared characteristic in the example that they gave is the 100 to 500 employees. The difference, right, is that they're all in different places. So you would have to think about what the characteristics that are similar to your group is. Sharita, this is going to be easy for you because all of your individuals need, all of the companies that you're going to be serving need, or they could all be, you could talk about the size of the companies, right? Maybe you serve a specific company size, but also I think you actually should talk about company size. And the reason why is because your larger companies typically are missing access to resources for diverse groups within their organization, right? Geographics might not be important to you because you might be able to serve the company anywhere in the country, right? But maybe one thing that you might be able to set apart as far as those is, remember the titles that we broke down? And remember how we broke down the interest between all 3 of those individuals? So one could be that it's the CEO or the C-level exec, and then the other one is the person who's going to be running the group, and then the other one could be the HR individual. I don't know if Sharita's still here or not, but that could be the segmentation, like the part that you talk about that's kind of differing. Okay, so it would be companies with that size, but then, okay, perfect. So it could be companies with that size, but then the employees within those companies that you break apart who the key decision holders are that will be making those decisions, right? So they might have different roles, but within that organization, the org size, they all fall within a certain range, if that makes sense. All right. All right. Sustainable business and financial model. Please describe your business model. So we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. No, we didn't. No, we touched on this a little bit yesterday with the revenue model and when we were kind of talking about the difference between them. But your business model essentially talks about how you're going to operate as a business. I'm not trying to be redundant, right? When you think about how you're going to function, what is the model that you're going to use to operate within? Okay, you can talk about your revenue model a little bit to kind of outline how you plan on being profitable. That could be part of your business model. The why you're serving the group of people or the segment of people that you are serving. Okay. Let me see, what else could you include? How you create value could also be really important here, but not from a let me see, actually, I have an example here that was really good. Sorry, I was using it earlier. My computer was stop acting so slow today. Yeah, I gotta figure this out because my Aries impatient is like literally driving me crazy. All right, so yeah, so we talked a little bit about the different business models or revenue models that you can integrate within your business, right? Because remember, the revenue model is the high overarching piece that you're going to be using to make money. So within that, you can talk about like how you plan on making money. So we use Spotify as an example for like, they use ads, they use a freemium model, and they use a subscription model for their pricing strategy. But for the business model that you actually plan on implementing, how are you going to deliver value to who and who, right? So that could be, are you going to deliver value to businesses, other businesses, or are you going to be delivering value to other consumers, right? Or direct to consumer? Or are you going to be doing consumer to consumer or consumer to business? So which one of those models, or maybe it could be a hybrid model. It doesn't have to be, and I don't want you guys to get caught up in like, oh, it has to be this way. It could be hybrid, right? Or you might be working in phases, okay? So maybe one phase of your business does B2B, but then the next one does C2B, right? Or maybe it's more of like a hybrid model where you're licensing certain parts to consumers. So don't get too wrapped up in like what it has to be. If you look up business models that don't fit within your schema, look up hybrid models and how you can kind of work them around. But either way, when you're talking about which one that you want to talk about, think about the revenue and how you're going to generate revenue for your business. And they ask you, please include a business model for each segment and revenue stream of your business, okay? So for example, if you're going to be doing B2B, how within the B2B scape are you going to be making money and being profitable? There's no block question, girl. None whatsoever. But the character, yeah, so Jolina's right. So there's 1,000 character limit here. Some applications don't have them, some applications do. This one happens to have 1,000 character limit. So I would say try to fit all of that within that character limit. With 1,000 characters is a fair amount of characters though. So you definitely have enough space to talk about. And to be honest with you, unless you have a hybrid model where you need to break down both of them, you really don't need that many. Just say we're doing business to business. Our organization is structured with a business to business model, and we plan on generating revenue in this segment or this industry of people or this segment of individuals. Like so for example, if it was business to business, you could say within healthcare, insurance, and banking. And then I would talk a little bit about why I chose those segments, or what features of those segments have in common that made me choose them, right? And then break down a little bit further how I plan on making money through those segments. All right. So, and with context to the business model. So, for example, this business model, this company plans on operating from a business to business, or implementing a business to business model. And we plan on serving the healthcare and insurance segments. These segments are both highly administrative, and our service and our product or our service, whatever it is that you're selling, caters to the high volume of data that they process every single day. I'm making something up off the top of my head, all right? Because that's something that they have in common. There's a lot of admin and papers within that space, all right? So let's say, for example, I was selling a a machine that was able to scan papers really quickly. Those two industries would be able to benefit from something like that. All right. Now, how do I plan on making money other than selling just the product? Maybe I'm also selling the software that goes with the product. So yeah, you can scan these papers, but then if you want to process all this data quickly, you have to upgrade to a subscription where you pay every single month. And when you put the papers in, we sort them for you, right? The software will sort it for you. And then maybe in that, you also have like other ways that you plan on making money with them, right? Maybe you'd have to talk about revenue diversification, how you plan on making money in large scale. So it's not just the one thing that you sell. Does that make sense? I feel like I just said a lot of things. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Okay, good. Does that make sense? Because I really feel like I just said a lot of different things. And I want to move on. Okay. Anyone else have questions, comments, concerns? Okay, cool. So risk, right? It's asking you to talk about the risk that your business is most sensitive to and that affects your model the most. So you'd have to know your model to be able to answer this question, all right? But risk is, I would say, just as a good exercise anyway, come up with something called a risk mitigation plan, okay? And break it down from something that is the most sensitive to the least likely, all right? But some of the risks that are inherent in businesses across the board, there are going to be industry specific risks, and then there are going to be there's going to be risks that are related to industry specific and then business model risk, right? So for example, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter. So either way, think about things like economic risk, right? So are there things that can happen within the economy that can impact the business model that you're using? All right. So that's something that you got to think about. Are there regulatory risk, right? Not to be confused with political risk, regulatory and compliance risk, right? So within the business model and the framework that you use, if there were to be some like a governing body that oversees your industry or oversees this is asking specifically for business model, but even if within that, right, if there was some kind of regulatory change between how businesses do business with other businesses, like for example, a contractual thing that had to be integrated, or like how like GDPR got introduced to the US a couple years back. If a business were to now come on my website, do I have to implement something like that? That is regulatory, okay? So those are some just basic things that you might have to consider. Environmental risk, okay? Do environmental risk impact your business model? For example, how businesses do business with maybe a consumer. We experienced that when COVID happened, all right? That is definitely sensitive if you're doing B2C work, right? So these are things that you have to think about depending on what business model that you pick. And if you have a hybrid model, then you have a little layer of complexity to think about, but talk about the risks that are inherent to the model that you chose, okay? Yes, no, maybe. I can give you more examples than that. I just picked the top 3 that came to my mind. But there's a lot of different risks. But if you do something called a risk mitigation plan, you look at all the different factors, every factor that you could be subject to. Politicians, if they make some rule, some law, for example, what happened with DeSantis in Florida, businesses are suffering because of that, right? A lot of businesses, the agricultural industry is suffering because of that. Trucking industry is suffering because of the transportation, right? That's the industry. Transportation industry is suffering because of that. Commerce is suffering because of that. Even merchants, like restaurants, are suffering because they can't get the products in. Everything is suffering because of this one political decision, right? who knew if those business models would be subject to that? So think about those things. Does that make sense? And was that a good example? Or was that did that example make sense? First, better yet. Okay. All right. So now they're asking you to fill out an income statement below. All right. Math. Who's excited? Okay. They're asking you to fill out this income statement, and they're asking for different pieces of information. All right. So revenue is going to be what you've made. All right. In 21 and 22, those are going to be actual figures. All right. So you would reference your profit and loss statement to get that number. All right. How much did we make in 21? How much did we make in 22? All right. COGS means cost of goods sold. All right. Excuse me. Cost of goods sold. Gross profit is going to be the total. Oh, no, you guys got that. You know what gross profit is. SG&A, selling general administrative expenses. EBITDA is pretty much everything after you paid taxes, depreciation, assets, all those good things, right? And then the net profit. So what was left, all right, which you literally actually pay taxes on, all right? Now, that's going to be the actuals for 21 and 22. 23 is not over yet, right? And I don't even think they're going to be looking at this until 24 for real. They're not really starting this until 24. So based on some of the information, well, based on where you are right now, if you do your balance sheet or you do your, or you can actually just do a P&L for now, you can forecast based on your current for quarter 1 and quarter 2, whatever you have up until quarter 2, what you think you're going to make for the rest of the year. All right. Because they're asking for a forecast, projection into the future. All right. 24, 25, and 26, they're asking for forecasts as well. All right. Yes. Earnings before income tax and depreciation. So they're asking you what you think you're going to make. How you project that? You have to find what's called a projection. As a you can find a calculator or a spreadsheet, an Excel sheet, and put in figures for whatever your budget. Do you recall reading how many people will be accepted into this program? I don't recall, but I know they said that there are going to be 3 people that get awarded. Yeah. So for the forecast, you have to do a budget, right? Because you need to know what your expenses are going to be, or your projected expenses are going to be. How much money do I think I'm going to spend on creating this initiative, project, whatever, for the remainder of the year through 2026? Or is it 26? Yes. All right. How much do I expect to sell now through 26? All right. How much money do I anticipate? And to be honest, you could apply the projected funds onto here. I don't know if I would do that since they have 3 different funding tiers, but based on what you actually have, look at, I better get something for all this work. That's hilarious. All right. So, well, Jolena, you already have a projection sheet, so you should be fine with this. I would say probably the only thing you have to really focus on is the 2021 and 22 actuals, right? But for the projections, you should be okay. Okay? So, oh my gosh, don't get discouraged. Are you guys getting discouraged? Don't do that. All right. Maybe we should take a break. Let's take a break. It's just a lot. Wait, Sharita, are you getting discouraged? Don't get discouraged, sis. Oh my gosh. Alan, you're only saying let's break because you probably want to call me about something. All right. Okay. I'm laughing not because it's funny, because I just thought in my brain, like, I need to start a grant application support group. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think mindset is part of the process we should discuss. Yes, I agree. Mindset is definitely part. This is why I said, like, really, I had some calls this week where I was just like, damn, I really failed these ladies so bad, because like I just started talking about this stuff, and I'm not discounting the value in the information, but I feel like I didn't prepare you guys for, or adequately prepare you for what this would be. And I'm so sorry. I take full responsibility for how you guys feel right now, because how I plan on making it up to you is that when we formalize this information, I want you to know this is not your job. So how you're feeling is very fair, okay? You should not be doing this. This should be someone's job, okay? This is not your job. You should be working on your business, not in it like this. It shouldn't be this involved. I agree. I get it. I'm gonna give you everything you need to make this someone's job, okay? I'm gonna give you the questions banks, the job description for who you're hiring, even give you the assessments for how to assess someone's skills to do this, okay? Facts, we go through it just applying. Yes, you do, because, oh Lord, oh my gosh. I'll be first in line because we only have you during lives. What about when I get an attitude later? Oh my gosh, I'm crying. That is hilarious. Oh, y'all got me in here crying. Okay, all right, yeah. All right, yeah, we need a community. That's what I'm hearing. I hear y'all. I need someone to do this for me, because no, I agree. Yeah, this should be someone's job. I agree 100%, because this is not something you should be doing day to day. Yeah, okay. So we'll get this cracking, okay? Okay. All right. You guys put the fire under my butt. You're heard. You are heard, okay? I just want you to know I hear you. I hear you. All right? This is not falling on deaf ears. I hear you. Okay? Whew, that was a good laugh. Thank you. I needed that on this Friday. Okay? All right. I appreciate y'all so much. I needed that laugh. Y'all don't even know. All right. So 2023, let's just talk about the projections. You have to have a budget, and you need to be able to talk about how much product you're going to be able to do. Sharita, I gave you the template, right? So when you look at, you should be good too, Sharita. So when you talk about how much of the market you're actually going to be able to try to capture, once you have that information down and you put you put what you think you can actually do volume wise and capacity wise. That's what you're going to do for your for your units, right? But for you, cogs don't even matter because you have a service, right? And unless you're consulting at a fixed rate, then this should be cost of services sold, right? And that should be within a range. So that, don't even worry about that too much either, right? All right. Projections are a function of having a budget for what you need to be able to move your project along, looking at that, putting it against what you believe you're going to do based on the amount of people you will be able to serve and that percentage of the market that you're going to capture. And that does not have to be a large amount. You're a small business. You might not be able to capture 20%, right? Or 30%. It might, when I did my projections, it was like 0.00 something, right? And that still was like a couple $100,000, all right? So, because it's a large market. So don't think it has to be like some huge amount that you have to capture. So you're going to talk about the amount of market that you're going to capture, and then that's how you're going to project into the future. How much revenue you're going to make. You're going to know the cost of the goods sold or services sold because you're going to outline that when you talk about the number of people that you can serve, right? And you're going to be able to, this is really frustrating. Okay. And when you have a sheet, you're going to talk about the cost of services sold because it's going to be at the bottom somewhere where it says, all right, services or goods sold. It's going to say, this is the unit price. This is how many people I think I could serve. That's the total. There you go. Gross profit is going to be the total amount that you think you're going to be making for that time, right? Selling, general administrative, whatever expenses, you should outline that in your budget. Earnings before income, earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation. That's going to be a little bit hard to measure. I would probably, for me, I have a guy who does my financial modeling. So I'm going to kind of ask him about probably the industry standards. I'll probably do some research about companies in my industry and what their ranges are. That's how I'm going to come up with that data for my projections. And when I upload my financial statements for not even this one. Hold on. I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah. Hold on. If they give me an extra space to do that. Okay. No, they don't even give you. But that's what I'm going to do as far as putting that EBITDA down. I'm going to use an industry standard because I haven't launched this product yet. I don't earn money from this thing yet. So I don't know what that would be. So I'm going to have to use an industry standard for forecasting. Okay. What my competitors do, what companies in this industry do. All right. And then that's going to be the standard. And that's how I'm going to generate the net profit that I can expect. All right. That's what I'm going to do. Just telling you what I'm going to do. All right. Financial statements. The financial statements I'm going to provide are profit and loss statements. Okay. Profit and loss. And let's see, watch explainer video here. Let's see what else they want. If they want anything else. Oh, this is about the filling in this thing. Okay. They also have a video. They provided a video on how they want you to fill this out. They want an income statement. Yeah, so they've pretty much outlined how they want this filled out. But for me, I'm probably going to do my balance sheet, my income statement, and my profit and loss statements for those 2 years. That's what I'm going to do for statements. All right. Any questions on that? And then another, probably another income statement for the 12 months. So revenue, including grants over the last 12 months, I'll do another income statement. Yeah. Any questions? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to get you discouraged. Any questions? You don't have to do that, Dr. AJ. That's all. I just want you to win, girl. That's it. All right. So how much money have you gotten from grants? Well, non-dilutive funding, which is like any funding that you didn't have to exchange equity for, or there was no exchange for. There was no expectation of equity or debt or anything like that, right? So that's non-dilutive funding. Dilutive funding would be equity. All right. Dilutive, non-dilutive, and dilutive. So that would be a figure. 0 if it's 0. All right. How much debt does your company borrow from outside sources? If you have any debt that you're paying back, that could be a loan. This says debt financing is a loan. That could also include credit cards too, right? Anything that bears interest is debt, period. Which key milestone have you reached to date? So you can talk about any milestones that you've been able to do, that you've been able to accomplish. Excuse me. What's your name? Jolena, please put down the funding that you just received, okay? Or the support that you just received. All right. What are your top milestones to achieve growth for the next 12 months? All right. Oh, and Sharita, you hired a sales team member. That is great. If you've onboarded some customers, even if it's one, that's great too. Milestones don't have to be that you made it $1 billion. It could be anything. You just finished research and development. You just finished prototyping. You just finished beta testing. You finished outlining your proposal. I don't care what it is. If you accomplish something towards your business, go ahead and put that down, okay? And when it says describe it, it's giving you 250 characters. Talk about how this is going to help move your business along in some way, right? So if it was like a proposal that you just finished, for example, or maybe even hiring a consultant or something, you can talk about how that clarity or, the information that you were able to assess helped you to streamline your business processes or whatever the case may be. That is a milestone, all right? Top 3 milestones to achieve growth in the next 12 months. You would have to tell me what that is. So just think about something that is relevant. All right. What else? Those are accomplishments, especially since they're industry specific. You definitely want to do that. All right. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So what systems, tools, and processes do you use for project and milestone management? All right. That's a good question. What systems do you use? Do you use any tools or processes? And if you don't already do these things, talk about the things that you plan on doing, right? It shows intentionality. If you don't already, talk about maybe Monday.com. Monday.com is a great project management tool. All right. Milestone management, I would probably say Google something to determine how you guys keep track of your milestones, okay? Or a good way to track milestones, okay? That would be appropriate for your business structure, your business model, your that fits into your budget, okay? What else? All right. What is your gross burn rate and how much runway do you have left? Oh Lord, burn rates and runway. Do I even want to try to go through this right now? Because y'all already hate me. Oh my gosh. All right. It gives you information on burn rates and runway. I would say look it up or do their calculations on it. But burn rates pretty much talk about how fast your company burns through money. All right. And then runway is the time frame that you have left for that money. So for example, if every single month you have, if every single month your expenses come up to, I'm going to use a whole round number, okay? $100 a month, all right? Well, actually, they give an example. If you have $100,000 in cash in the bank and your monthly burn rate is $50,000, then you have 10 months of runway. It's a great example. Nice round whole numbers, all right? So easy calculation. Money in bank divided by how much you spend every single month on expenses. And if you have varied expenses, which is why you need a budget, you guys. And again, I know I failed you in some regards. I'm gonna make it up to you, I promise, okay? But the budget, even you should be split between your fixed expenses and your variable expenses, okay? For the variable expenses, all the things that you spend that vary every single month, just take the average of those months, all right? And that's gonna be your flat rate, okay? So let's say for 3 months, one that same bill is $100, but then the next month it's 80, and then 1 month it's 10. Just take the 3 numbers, multiply them, divide them by 3. That's your average of what you spend a month, okay? Every single month. So that can give you a flat round number that you can use to determine what that variable income expenses look like every single month. All right. Just take the average of them. Okay. And then the flat ones, you know what you're going to pay every single month for that. You know what you're going to pay a year for it. And then you take the money that you have in the bank versus your expenses, and that'll tell you how much runway you have. This one is probably the easiest calculation you'll ever do. Easy. All right. Any questions? There was 10 people in here. I lost half of y'all once we started talking about financial projections. That is crazy. All right. Any questions? Okay. In all fairness, though, right? I'm not taking responsibility for myself. I know where I dropped the ball. But this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. When you get to these higher levels of funding, like anything over 20, 30 grand, all right? Really $20 to $30,000 and up, these are what these applications are going to look like. So guard your loins now, all right? So if we see like 100,000, 50,000, you'll see. These are some of the questions they're going to be asking you. What is your revenue model? I need projections. I need financials. I need this. I need that. Like, is it going to be profitable? They need that information. So I just kind of want to, I'm going to go ahead and backtrack and just set that expectation now, even though I should have before. But yeah, that's why when I was trying to do the 6-figure funding, I was already aiming upwards of like 50 grand in my mind, because 2 applications would accomplish that. And you just have to do this twice. All right. So please explain why you and your team are uniquely qualified to solve this problem. You got 1,000 characters to brag about your qualifications. All right. Who you are, your experiences, the number of years that you guys have been doing this. This is a really good time to talk about some accomplishments that you guys have had in your industry. Like treat this like a resume, low key, right? If there's something in this, if there's a team member of yours that has like a unique skill that's relevant to your industry, you really want to talk about that. Talk about their milestones, their accomplishments in the industry, if that's relevant, right? Talk about that. They're asking you to also mention any gaps in your team, all right? And when or what it is and what you're planning to recruit. So if you don't have this out or up yet, then this would be a really good time to talk about the people that you're going to need to get this done. All right. Developers, salespeople, admin, whoever these people are. All right. This is what you're going to talk about that you need for them. So they're not expecting you to have all of this in place. They're asking you, who will you need to get this done? All right. Maybe lawyers, maybe consultants, maybe technical people, maybe developers. I said developers, yeah. So think about those things, all right? For the people that you have been working with, they ask you how long have you been working together and how did you and the co-founder meet? Which is, that's a little sus, but whatever. All right. Please list the top 3 core members of your company, including yourself. You could put your information down. If there's no other core people, then you don't have to worry about that. All right. It's asking you to put an organization chart in here. If you don't already have one, project what one would look like. All right. And then what else is it saying? What am I saying? Okay. Commitment to Cartier's Women Initiative vision. What would being part of a DEI community mean for you and your company? Sharita, you got this one in the bag. All right. And then so the question is, what do you expect to be the benefit of getting this award to you personally and to your company? Right? Great question. So I would look, first of all, definitely see who else has won this award and see what they're doing. All right. And see if any of the things that they're doing would benefit you as well. Definitely one thing you can do. You don't have to reach out to them. Just see how it's benefiting them. All right. But also just think about what your company needs, right? Diversity and inclusion means that within your industry, there's probably a lack of diversity somewhere, or equity, or lack of inclusion. You are minority women. Many of you that join the lives, that's the whole thing, right? So what you expect to get is access, to be able to be treated equitably in some of these spaces. And as far as diversity is concerned, you could even lean into what you bring that's diverse, right? Culturally, because it's asking you about personally, right? What this award means to you personally. So for me, I'm gonna make mention of Haiti, right? We need that. So personally, and then to the company, you would want to talk about how your company is going to be impacting that community, right? Or how that diversity, equity, and inclusion piece impacts your company as well. In the same regards, right? Literally the same regards. Take the same framework and apply it to your business. And then it says, what can you contribute to a broader DEI community? How can you be a voice for a DEI community? That's a really good question. What can you contribute? Sharita, would you mind? Are you in a position to talk to us right now? Okay. Can you request to come on? I don't have that option. Why not? 1 second. I think
Okay, I'm on now.
Hi, Sharita.
Hey, Lord Jesus, you put me to it. I'm like, damn, what is all of this stuff? Like, Jesus,
Don't say
it's
that.
so much. It's just so much.
You the one that sent me the application.
I know, but I didn't know they were gonna be like, "Ah, you haven't produced 12 months worth of stuff, so we can't do anything for you." And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna fight you.
So did you get a chance to reach out to anyone?
I haven't put together because I need to actually sit down and formulate how I'm gonna put together this message to send to this lady to figure out how I'm gonna convince them I just launched this business last September and I don't have 12 months worth of revenue. Like, and even if I didn't load it, like, how can I show like I don't have 12 months of revenue? Like, a lot of business in their first month don't have like 12 months of revenue. So what else can I tell you? It's just triggering for me that it's like, oh, now I got to prove like I'm worthy to even apply. Like, that's just triggering for me. And that's what I have to just kind of like get over and like, okay, it's fine, whatever.
Talk to me about the word trigger. What's the trigger?
So, um, and I did a whole series of this on LinkedIn. That I'm a Black woman recovering from corporate PTSD, and when I made the transition to the business that I'm doing now, I had to move away from feeling like I constantly have to prove my value to people because that's what I had to do when I was in corporate. Even though I have an MBA, even though I have a number of years of experience, numerous certifications, I still had to prove. And then when I proved that I could do the job, all of a sudden I became a threat because when I got fired from my job last year, one of the reasons why they said that I didn't do my job properly is because I was arrogant. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with me doing a job. Like, you just didn't like the fact that I knew what I was talking about and I stood in that authority. So when I see that, oh, because I don't have the year's worth of revenue, then I got to go begging these people, like, well, here's the value I present and here's what I'm trying to do. And your shit is about DEI. So I shouldn't have to say anything, but I'm a Black woman with a fucking business. That's all I feel like I have to tell you. But now I gotta be like, okay, well, can you take this chance? Can you possibly, like, this is who I am. This is what I'm trying to do. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's triggering me because I'm like, I have to figure out how to position it in a way that says, I am out here showing businesses to stop being performative, stop making psychologically unsafe workplaces for your employees just to make a dollar. Here's how you can actually be a proponent for DEI, make psychologically safe workplaces, and still contribute to the bottom line.
No, that makes sense. Are you open to a different point of view?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really difficult. Is this your first business?
No, I have a product business.
Okay. No, outside of the product business.
Yes, this is really my first like all in full time consulting business. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to preface this by saying that nothing I'm going to say takes away from your experience in any way. All right. And what I'm going to say, it could sound like I'm trying to do that or invalidate your experience in some way. But what you experienced was real and no one could take that away from you. Right. However, I want you to approach all of this, every single interaction, every single application, every single consultation with a more detached approach. Okay. Because at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, I understand how you feel, but it's not about you. Right. And I'm not saying that because it's, I don't even know the words I want to use, but it's business. And like that, and it's really difficult to detach ourselves from our business because we're so enmeshed in the business. Like we're doing everything. We're the ones that have to generate the revenue. We're the ones that have to come up with the ideas. We're the one that have to do the grants, and everything falls on us. And we're the ones that assume the most risk at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, when we get into these spaces, I want you to understand that it doesn't matter if it was you, Chad, or Samantha, okay? They would all have to do the same thing. Now, with funding, unfortunately, they're in those spaces for the majority, that's what I'm gonna call them. The majority, they have access to things like friends and family. They can pick up and make certain phone calls that sometimes we don't have access to, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this can feel like begging in some regards, and I totally identified with that at one point until someone put it plainly to me, right? Even if this was a bank or if this was um really anyone, right? There's really no one that's going to give you this amount of money without proof, not you proving. I want to separate those two things because it's not about your worth, it's not about your value. It's about the business's ability, right? To be able to generate revenue through this idea. It's about the business's ability to be successful once these funds are applied. Whether it's you, Chad, or Samantha, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't it who cares who it is, okay? Because at the end of the day, no one wants to fund a business that is going to fail. No one funds a sinking ship. So, in order for us to prove that, we have to do the work, we have to do the research, right? We have to go through the muck of, okay, what is, and it's not really even proving as much as it is validating that our idea is going to be profitable. Who am I serving? Why would they really want this? And when I look at how much, and when I look at when the how the funds are going to be managed, applied, whatever, does this make sense? That's it. That's really it. And the way you do that is measuring all of this information, right? Like even down to who you're going to serve. That's why I've told you guys before, like, you tell me what you need, because I could tell you what you need, but then what if it's not that? Guess what? You're not going to pay for it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're less likely to pay for it because it's not what you need. So if you're giving me feedback about what you need, I know you're more likely to pay for it. Even that is measurable. Okay, they told me they need this. Boom, it's done. And I can do it, it's done. And then now, how much is it going to cost me to do this, right? Because once you tell me, Natalie, I need to be able to find a way to offload this to someone else. Okay, let me go ahead and offload, because I'm not taking it personally. Even when I said I failed you, I'm not saying I failed you like I didn't do something for you. I don't have to do that. It's not personal. Am I glad to do it? Absolutely, but it's never personal. Will I be able to give you the information? Absolutely. But now that I know you need this thing, all right, how much is this going to cost to do this efficiently where I know what the consumer needs? Okay, now that I know how much it's going to cost, based on this, how much is this going to be to make it profitable and sustainable? And within a certain price point that will meet the sensitivity, right? And then still meet a perceived value, because I can't price it at $100 because you're going to think it's invaluable. It's not valuable. So all these psychological pieces are moving around on the chessboard together at all times. And if we internalize that, oh, you're gonna lose your mind. It's never about you. It's about the value that you are able to provide your consumer sustainably and profitably at the end of the day. And that's why people have such a hard time with being business owners, and like, or you'll hear rhetoric online about how, like, oh, you can't be a conscious capitalist because someone has to suffer, or this has to go that, and that, or you can't be super rich because of this or super that. You know why? Because of how it impacts others and how you're feeling right now. Because of everything that you're hoping and wanting to accomplish, but you feel like you can't because of your past experiences. Because clearly you and to be honest with you, you wouldn't feel like this if you didn't care. So that's why when people talk about that BS online, I don't even listen to it. Or you can't be a conscious capitalist. Yes, you can, because you care, Sharita. You cannot do this unless you care. You wouldn't feel this way unless you cared. And it's okay to care. Now, when you care, you know where you articulate how much you care on that application, and you know how much, and you know, and this is where passion comes in, right? And this is also low key why I, okay, another time. This is the time to let that passion shine and use all of this frustration, and you understand, oh, her divine alchemy, you understand alchemy, baby. I'm talking to the right one today. I need you to move that energy, sis, because I need you to move that energy into the passion that's going to go behind these applications. I need you to take all this frustration and I need you to transmute that into these applications. And instead of using that energy to feel the frustration and taking it out on yourself, I need you to take it out on these people. Like, hey, by the way, this is what I've experienced. This is what these organizations are doing. I need to go ahead and get funded so we can go ahead and change some things up. This is not working. This system flawed. It doesn't work. You don't even have to make it personal. You don't even have to talk about yourself. This is what this many people in this country experience every single year. What y'all gonna do about that? Y'all gonna give me the money to fix this or not? Don't take it out on you. Take it out on them. But make sure it's a language they can understand. That's what these numbers are. That's it. That's all it is. That passion that you're feeling, that frustration that you're feeling, don't take it out on you. You don't deserve that. You didn't do nothing. The system doesn't work. That's why that's the problem that you're solving right now. All right, listen, you need an ERG, period. And if you don't have one, this is what's going to happen. This many people are this it's this likely that your company is going to experience a turnover rate. Is this likely that your company is going to there's going to lose profit? Is this likely that your organization can even face publicity issues? Quantify it and measure it for them. Make it real. Make them taste it. That's what you're doing. Don't cry. Oh, you're gonna make me cry. I'm about to get my period too. Y'all can't do this to me. I'm a soft thug, man. Damn. She really about to make me
No,
shut
like I
up.
no, I get it. It's just the when I say the trigger, and it is really not even for the application. Like I get the application process, I really do. And do I know that there is disparity in funding across the board? Yes. Do I know it's harder for people that look like us to get funding? Absolutely. Like I get that, and I know that, and that's not going to change. It's just the trigger was really me having to say, hey, making consideration for me. That was really the trigger. Like I got to figure out what words to say. And it's like, I don't, I know I have to figure out the right words because the only words coming out of my mouth right now was like, this is a fucking problem. And people like me who are trying to have solutions for the problem, who are fighting for visibility, who are fighting for funding, versus people that don't look like me, who I've talked to, who get money, contracts, and stuff thrown at them because they say, like, hey, I think this is a problem and I would like to do something about it. Do they have the experience? No. Do they have the wherewithal? No. Do they even have a service? No. But they're getting fucking money thrown at them. And I'm like, I'm sitting up here with a plethora of stuff. And when I talk to these people, they're like, oh my God, that is amazing. You have this whole thing built out. People would love that. And I'm still like, hey, I'm fucking over here. And I'm like,
And
okay, I got to get
and
past that. I got to get past that.
and
I know I got to get past it. I know I got to get
Sharita, Sharita, all of that, and right. So you're gonna put that in an email. That's what you're gonna put in the email. And if Cartier, this is what I mean. Like you got to really put it in their face. If Cartier really is dedicated to diversity and inclusion, I understand that I might not win because I have to be able to articulate that. However,
past it.
my company and the fact that I am part of the diverse, I'm part of the underrepresented, use their words, I'm part of the underrepresented and underserved community that you're speaking of would benefit from something like this. Let me in there. Everything you just said, take the frustration out on them. That's listen, I understand what you're trying to do, everything you just said, and if you guys are really about that life, if that's really what you guys represent, run me this application. I understand that that does not guarantee that I'm going to win because you have to be realistic, right? We got to
Yeah.
be realistic. It doesn't guarantee that I'm going to win. However, go ahead, let me run. And what I'm telling you doesn't even guarantee that they're gonna let you in. But don't take the frustration out on you, Sharita.
Yeah. I know. Like I know, like I know. It's like I know. That's why I'm just like I just have to work through it and just go through all that stuff. It's just I mean, I recognize it's not just the frustration of this, it's just everything I have to do. And this is just something else I need to do on top of it. But it's like I need the funds in order to do things. And it's fucking exhausting. It's
It's
fucking
exhausting. It's exhausting. But you know what? It's it's the journey. Honestly,
exhausting.
like when you get to this point where you love this part, where you're like, okay, this is like honest, and I'm telling you this as I'm telling this to myself because this is the part. There's gonna be a day where we're all gonna be, and I'm speaking this into existence because when I say things, things happen. I want you to mark my words. There's gonna be a day where when all of us who have done the work are going to be sitting on a beach chilling on vacation, all right? And we're gonna be looking back at this time like, yo, remember that time we were on live and we were talking about how we just were frustrated with the process, but this is the journey, Sharita. There's gonna be a moment where you're gonna be so removed from this time, you won't even remember it. It's gonna be a blip. Just keep going, girl. As yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna stop. It's just oh Lord. I just can't wait to get to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to do this. I can pay someone to do this. Like that's just all I want in life. I want that soft life where I'm just like, I'm gonna allocate this to somebody that I'm actually going to pay to do, and they're gonna actually do their job
Right.
efficiently and effectively. And I'm not just throwing money at stuff and it's just not being done. So yeah.
Right. No, I understand. And
Okay.
trust me when I tell you, I'm not speaking from some high horse. I'm rocking the boat with y'all, bro. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. I just started this initiative. I'm looking for funding too. I'm telling these people the same thing I'm telling you guys, I'm telling these people. Same things. I'm rocking with you. So what's the difference between me being 10 years in and you being just starting this consultancy? Nothing. We're all in the same boat. There's gonna just be different phases. There's phases where I've
Mhm.
seen $500,000 in loans. All right, $500,000 in loans. I've seen six figures in funding, six figures in revenue, and guess what? I closed that business down. That phase was over. It's done. It's over. And then now we're on to
Mhm.
the, and this is the part of the next part of the journey. And then we move on, and then you go through the funding again, and then you forget about it, and then you're like, okay, what's next? What's going on now? Once you get the ERG, once you get the ERG funding and you move on to phase two, then you're like, okay, what else can we improve on? What else can we benefit? You'll get that itch again. It's everything's a phase. This is where we are right now. This is what we have to do it right now. This is helping you streamline your offering, your who you're going to be who you're going to be talking to. It's building new skills for you. These are building. You have skill. Let me tell you something, Sharita. I've been sleeping on these skills. You see what I'm talking to you guys on right now?
Mhm.
10 years of experience. I charge companies thousands of dollars to talk to you guys what I'm talking about for free. Skills. You're building a skill. You're building a muscle. So that's why it's frustrating because when you go in the gym and you got to build a muscle, it hurts at first until you get used to the weight. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I understand what I'm doing. I understand what I need to articulate. I understand where this needs to go. It's hard. It's hard. And I don't want to invalidate how you feel. It's hard. It's hard. It's very hard. Cried myself to sleep many a night. It's very difficult. And being a black woman, that's why when I tell you, okay, let's get through this grant stuff, okay? Let me
Yeah.
formalize the course, and next we're going not even just this thing right now because we're done with this, okay? This application is gonna have to go into next week, all right? But
Yes,
at
because
this
it's
point,
oh my God.
yeah, no, there's a lot. Because tomorrow we'll talk about impact frameworks. I already have it written down, right? But next we're gonna talk about government contracting, and what I want to tell you is the government will hold your hand to teach you how to contract with them. Okay? When I tell you hold their hand, I mean like they will help you certify, they will do everything. Okay? Because they need you. They need I'm not trying to get too spiritual because I don't want to like make this too much, but karmically, financially, they need black people. Okay? They got debts, they got karmic debts to pay. That's what I'm gonna say. All right.
Mhm.
So when I say lean into your blackness, if once we start learning about government contracting and like the piece, I can't teach you about contracting as a whole because we're all in different states. There's different requirements on the state side and the local side, but on the federal side, take all their money, and you can do that because you're black. Lean into your womanhood, lean into your blackness, because that's what's going to benefit you the most. Okay.
Yeah, I set up everything with Sam and I got my cages. So now I have to figure out how to get on the oh God, I forgot the name of the acronym, but the other ones to get my full certification. So that's what I'm trying to do. And then I have to upload my documentation to get my local certification that I can use anywhere for like the DB, WBE. So that one I just need to give them all of my paperwork. So it's tedious, but it's not like hard or difficult. It's just like, okay, well, where is this paperwork at and where is this? And I just that's all it is. So I just have to actually just have the time to sit down and do it.
Yeah. No, for sure. They need you, right? So once you
Yeah.
and that will help build some revenue as well, because
Hmm.
that's money coming in. So once you have that going, you build out this department with the grant, so you know someone's always in charge of that, getting that done. Then you build out another department with your sales, and you know that's being managed. Somebody got that going. Then you have another person that's managing the day-to-day clerical things. And you know you have other people moving parts, but it's just gonna
So you're not gonna have so you're not gonna offer that. So you're not gonna have a business where you have grant writers. Like you're not doing that. so I can pay you? No, is that not part of the plan, ma'am? just
Sharita,
just asking. You ain't got to answer right now, but I was just asking because I go with people who I know, like, and trust, and I know, like, and trust you. So if you say, hey, I have these amount of grant writers and this is how much they cost per whatever, then I just be like, okay, well, can until I get the grant money, is there a payment plan or something? Because I would throw money at you to get this problem off my back. I'm just saying, but
I
you
hear
ain't
you.
got to answer right now. I was just saying,
I'm
just
answering this
letting you know.
call. I'm answering this call right now. My life is asking me to answer this call right now. Just think that your company is growing based on demand. I hear you. I'm not mad. My calling right now is to get this information out. Once this information is formalized, right? Which will be done, I'm
Mhm.
giving myself and the other people that are helping me till the middle of next month so we can move on to other things. And when I say
Okay.
other things, I mean we need to just learn how to structure a business. Having an LLC is not enough. It's actually probably the worst thing you can do if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so let's get structured. We'll formalize that, and then we knocking out these contracts. All right.
Okay. Well, I
All
was
right.
just putting it out there. Like, I wasn't trying to press you or just suggest it. I'm just saying, just for me and mine, just know that, I will throw money at you to solve a problem. Just
I got. Just
putting that
let me know what your problem is and how I can help. I got you. I feel like I
out.
feel like when I say I got you, I feel like I've exemplified that. When it's time to
Yes.
get you, I got you. Okay. But
Yes.
all right, ladies. I enjoyed this conversation very much today. Sharita, thank you for sharing and being vulnerable and like really expressing your frustration because that's difficult too. It's hard. It is. And I'm sure a lot of people and I saw a couple comments. I was trying to stay tapped in, but I saw just happened to glimpse at a couple comments that were lamenting with you. So you're not alone. All right. Um, let's talk about the okay, so tomorrow, let's do this. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the impact frameworks, okay? So we can get
Okay.
this impact frameworks. All right. And then also Sunday is me and baby day. So I'm out Sunday. Monday, we can look at the UN requirements, the UN sustainability thing. So we can answer that question sufficiently, right? And then what else did we miss? What I wanted to actually ask you about was the DEI thing, like how we should conceptualize DEI so that we're answering this question adequately. Um,
Well, the first thing is pretty much what you said about leaning into our blackness and our womanhood. So those are two things related to DEI, but then
right.
also emphasizing our lived experience and how from our lived experience we can be the catalyst for change, by showing people like, hey, this is something that myself and people that are in marginalized underrepresented groups experience, and here are some ways to combat that. Having someone that looks like them to bring in trainings, to be a diversity supplier, shows them that, one, this organization is committed to change, committed to serving underrepresented and marginalized communities, and giving people equitable opportunities. Because one of the things that I do try to make sure people understand is, like, there's a difference between equality and equity. Equality means giving everybody the same thing, but equity means giving people what they need in order to, the resources that they need in order to be successful. So it's about showing the community that you are being equitable in your resources by providing X, Y, and Z. Um, so that standpoint, definitely just honing in on the equity part of it, your blackness and your womanhood, or however you choose to identify, if it's in a marginalized or underrepresented group.
That's a gem. I hope y'all grab that. Yeah, because I was just taking notes and like that just triggered like that. I know what I'm gonna say for sure with this answer. Um, no, that's a bar because there definitely is a difference between equity and equality. No, that's a whole bar. Okay, Thank you for that. I'm glad you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
why I'm like, I
So
know things. You should just give me money because I swear if you just let me speak, I'll tell you everything you need to know.
you know what's so crazy though? It's funny because it's funny. So my accountant, her name, well, she's a CPA. My CPA, her name is Anna, right? And when we are launching growth grant, she was like, instead of launching the growth grant, why don't you just invest in businesses instead? But again, I told you this season of my life is calling me to support educationally and financially, right? So I was
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna listen to the call, and that's what I'm gonna do. By the way, we're gonna come up with an answer soon. It's getting close. It's gonna be close to the end of the year. Okay, closer to the end of the year, like August, September. But I'll put a video post to update about that and an email to update about that too.
Okay.
But yeah. So we were talking about it, and she's just like, yeah, because you could just take that money and then just give a piece of it away and do like an equity share, like maybe a couple percentage, because it's not a lot. It wouldn't be like a lot of money. And I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know. I don't know if investing is like the thing I want to do because equity gets kind of tricky, and then for how long and blah blah blah. And I don't really like investing outside of just the like other companies, like Apple or some sort.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you say that because that's definitely something that she had proposed. She's like, just do this instead, just invest instead and build it out that way. But it's actually it's actually something that might come back down the pipeline because I think if, for example, if a company, like if I understood, I mean, I didn't know your company then, but if I understood your framework now, I definitely would have invested in your company because I understand how I could put muscle, how just a little bit of some muscle would definitely move your company forward. I get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's something that's not going to change. The United States operates on corporations. You serve corporations. And I can understand your model. I've seen your pitch deck. I've seen your like parts of your proposals. I understand it. I would invest in it. So I kind of get it, but maybe one day. Yeah, not your business specifically, but investing in businesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it makes more sense because and the reason why I mentioned that is because she wanted me to move away from the education piece, but I'm like, no, I know what I'm being told. But she wanted me to move away from the education piece and move more towards investing, and I'm just like, maybe one day we'll see.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, there's time, so anything could happen in between now and then, whenever that is. So
yeah, true.
you might get money to invest in businesses, so that could happen.
Yeah, so interesting you say that because one of the so our company, the parent company, I know you guys know me as Mental Money Podcast on Instagram, but the company that we actually run, the name of it is Credit Conversion. The podcast is used for like marketing stuff, right?
Hmm.
We are registered as a financial services company. So one of the things that we want to actually contract for is to be able to get government funding and trickle it down to other businesses as well. So that's
Okay.
why I'm gonna ask you guys, like, hey, when you apply, could you put mental money um as the where you found it? Because two people have reached out because of that. And I'm trying to actually build a connection with Giving Joy. I have to follow up with you about that. I don't want to say it on live. Sorry, Jolena, because it didn't really work out that well. So the reason why I said I want to try to do that, why I want you guys to do that is because I want to form relationships with them so that we can consistently fund you guys as well, right? Because, for example, the growth grant, it kind of worked out, and not kind of, it worked out so that we can kind of make this a regular part of our business as far as funding is concerned, but we don't want to use our own funds to do it. We want to be able to use other
Right.
funds, right? So the government has to set aside, again, that's why I said leverage your blackness, because the government has to set aside funds to fund businesses. But I'm focusing on specifically funding minority owned businesses. So we want to be able to funnel that money down. And then I also remember the Giving Joy grant that we did a while back. I don't know if you had joined us that early, but it was like really, really early. We did a grant called Giving Joy. I actually have a call with the woman who the president of it on Wednesday
Hmm.
because I want to try to see if we can start rolling out some money. Um, I'm working, guys. I am. When I get on these lives, I'm not just talking. I'm working behind the scenes because I know we all need money. Like it's cute to give all this information. I know it's valuable. I know you're learning a lot, but at the end of the day, your business needs money. Period. So, and that's pretty much what I tell them. Like, hey, I know that little $500 grant was cute, but can we align in some way that would allow us to fund minority businesses at a larger scale, like maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 7,000, 10,000?
Yeah.
Um, and and I'm leveraging them because they have that experience already, right? So just trying to build some relationships. That's all.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that you're always busy doing stuff behind the scenes and working on stuff. So I appreciate all of the work that you do. I appreciate all of the information that you share with us and walking through like these applications because they are a lot. So I appreciate you doing that and then giving us like, hey, here's a different lens for you to look at with this so that we are successful in these applications because a lot of times we don't know. Sometimes they say, well, we're not going to give you any feedback if you don't get accepted, so just hope for the best. And we're like, okay, well, I don't know what I did right or did wrong, but we appreciate, well, I'll speak for myself. I appreciate you on all that you do, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all, dear. No problem at all. I'm an hour over time and I gotta go pick up my baby. So I'm gonna go. But I love y'all real bad. I love Black women to infinity. That's why I'm here. So I'm gonna go. But I'm gonna that's what I also had to do. The free tier. So I could get the YouTube videos up for YouTube/community. Um
Is that going to be on YouTube or Patreon?
and you know what? I said Patreon earlier, but there's another platform that I was looking at once that has like an actual like discussion thing. Like it's like a chat area. I think I'm gonna try to see if I can find that one again. I don't think it was expensive. I think it was maybe like $50 a month ish, maybe.
Okay.
Um, hold on a second. I'm not expecting y'all to pay $50 a month. I'm trying to remember what the name was. Hold on a second. Um, heard something. Oh, there it goes. Oh no, that's not it. Yeah, so I think it would allow me to like put the YouTube videos. Oh, sorry, Nikki. It's Mental Money Podcast on YouTube too. Um, yeah, so it'll allow me to create like a actual community. So like, let's say we put up a post or something. You can comment and put a thread. Like it's like a whole, like a tweet thing. Like you could tweet and put different conversations up. So yeah, I think that's how it works. So I'm gonna try to find that. I think it was called Heartbeat something. I'm having deja vu again. But anyway, yeah, community. Yeah, so I will try Wix. Yeah, I'll definitely try that out too. So I'm gonna try to look at a few different options, see what makes the most sense for us to be able to like really communicate with each other, and then go from there. Okay, and then for
Okay.
whoever joins in before the course is done or when that training is done, I'll grandfather you guys in for free, and then whoever joins in after will have to pay for it. Okay.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. Thank you again for all the work that you do. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself, and then get you some libations at
Oh,
some point this weekend because you deserve it.
oh, I will. Don't worry. I will. All right, my loves. I will let y'all go, but have a great weekend. Well, actually, I'll see you tomorrow. But yeah, see you tomorrow. Okay. And
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
Sharita,
Bye.
Jelena, I'll DM you about what you know, about the communities and stuff. All right. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.